What's up, everyone? It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and today I am going to be talking about Batwoman and the writers of the show. Now, we all have seen the teaser and the trailer. If you haven't, I would highly recommend going and watching those first before watching this video, so that way you have context behind what it is I'm going to be talking about. Now, for those of you that have watched it, you know that it is very politically driven. Like, they want to shove in your face that, hey, Batwoman is a lesbian, this character is a lesbian, and also men are bad. We need to prove that all men are evil and that women are inherently dominant and that this tiny woman that has absolutely no muscle on her body can take, you know, a complete full-grown man, multiple full-grown man in, you know, a hand-to-hand combat with no weapons whatsoever. And she has no problem going into her cousin's house, ripping off all of his Batman accessories, Batman, you know, his bat suit, his weapons, everything, all of his tech, and then going and making the proclamation of, I don't want a man getting credit for a woman's work, when, girl, you literally just stole everything from a man. So don't give me that bullshit. And then we have in the teaser where, there's a homeless person who doesn't look at all homeless, which, again, big critique of mine. I know a lot of people thought that I focused too much on it, but it was very, very frustrating when I myself have lived in big cities. I spent 5 years of my life in San Francisco. You want to go see homeless, go to San Francisco because they are everywhere. They get shipped over from the East Coast and they get dumped in cities like LA, like San Francisco, and there's a huge homeless problem. And even where I live now, there is a really big homeless problem. You want to see homeless people? Yeah, I can tell you firsthand, that is not what a homeless person looks like. So, and then in that teaser trailer, what is the whole point of that teaser trailer? Oh yeah, to, again, show white man bad, woman perfect, and everything that she does, let's stick it to the man. That is basically the plot of the trailer. Now, you would think that writers want to make characters that can be, you know, universally loved, that people can connect to. When you watch Forrest Gump, you might not have a lot in common with him. Like me, I'm not a man, I didn't grow up in the South, I didn't have the disabilities that Forrest Gump did, but when I watch that movie, I go on that journey with Forrest Gump, and my heart breaks for him. I'm happy when he is happy, and I want good things to happen for Forrest Gump because I'm emotionally invested in the story. When I watch movies like Blade, it's freaking cool. Great character. I don't have anything in common. You know, I don't have vampire abilities. I'm not a badass like him. But guess what? It's an intriguing character, and you want the character to succeed. When you watch Star Wars, again, I don't have anything in common with Luke Skywalker, but I'm rooting for Luke Skywalker the whole time. I know a majority of people aren't like Yoda. You didn't live on Dagobah, you're not a Jedi Master, but we like Yoda, we're invested in the character, we want to see Yoda succeed. Guess what? That is because of good writing, because these characters we have emotional investments in and we want to see them succeed. With Batwoman, all she's being used as is a plot device. Now, it's not very ironic that the two people that are writing Batwoman are both gay people. You know, Greg, one of the writers, there's Greg and there's Caroline. Greg is a gay man. His husband plays for the LA Galaxy, or he is. I think he still plays for the LA Galaxy. I don't really follow the Portugal. And then Caroline is a gay woman. Her wife is a post-production producer at NBC, I believe. And so they both have, you know, their experience. Greg worked on, let me try to get this in chronological order. I believe it was Dawson's Creek. Then he did Green Lantern. Then he did all of the CW superhero shows. So we already know how he starts off and how his shows continue. Get very, very political. From what I've heard, because I've only seen like a few episodes of Supergirl, but as you go through it, you can go watch Young Rippa 59's videos and just how horrendously awful Supergirl is, because it's just politics that are being shoved down your throat, and it's basically unwatchable. Heck, I've heard from people that loved Arrow that it just got hard to watch. The Flash, it's repetitive. You would think that it has good writing, and it doesn't. And I think I said Green Lantern. Yeah, the guy did Green Lantern, you know, the Ryan Reynolds one. So we can see how this guy starts off. Now, I'm going to show you a couple clips from Caroline as well as Greg, and we are going to learn a little about them. So let's do Greg first, and then I will follow up with Caroline. So let's see something about Greg.
I'd written a number of scripts when I came to Hollywood, 8 or 9 of them, and passed them around to friends, and nobody ever really called me about them or passed them on to anybody. And then I had saved up enough money to write sort of one more script, and I ended up writing this thing that became the film The Broken Hearts Club, and it was just about a group of young gay guys. I'd always loved the film Diner, and it really was sort of my ode to those kind of movies, those coming-of-age stories, but about what it meant to be gay in the late 90s in West Hollywood.
So as you can see, this guy's own friends don't want to give him a call back saying, dude, your script sucked. But on the other hand, even if his writing is bad, I can understand with the people that hire the writers. I think the directors, the producers, all the people behind the scenes that do all that stuff, and I can understand why they would want to bring in someone that's gay that can write a gay character, so that way because they bring a little bit more to the table than, somebody that, like me, for example, somebody that's straight that doesn't know what the struggle is like for someone that has this secret that has to deal with coming out to family that might not accept them. And I mean, the only experience I have is with, my gay friends and them telling me their own experiences, but then that's just secondhand information getting passed on, whereas somebody that's a writer can actually, put that emotion behind a character. So I think that's a smart move if that's going to be a big part of your plot, that this is a gay character, and this is, maybe that when you have the superhero stuff, and sometimes you can do the story where it's a superhero trying to balance, their personal life. You can look at movies like The Incredibles, where Mr. Incredible's trying to balance his personal life. Him and Mrs. Incredible, they have kids now, they have to deal with that. So if you're trying to do something like that, where Batwoman, okay, not only is she going to go and be Batwoman, but maybe she has personal relationships, maybe you're trying to show that her and her father had distance between themselves because of her coming out, and it's alienated them, but now they have to work together and fight it, and that causes tension. That could be interesting. That could be an interesting plot device, because even though there are straight people that are going to be watching it, every single human on the face of the planet can relate to having an issue with their parent and having to overcome that issue with the parent. And so even though this is not an issue that every single person has experienced, everyone can relate to having a type of issue with their parent and having to overcome it, and everyone can watch that and as human beings relate to that character on some form or another. That would be a very smart move, but something tells me that that's not going to be the direction that they're going to take, and it's just going to be politics shoved down your throat, which we can see from all of these shows that this guy has written for. Point and example is Supergirl. If you want to see something that's pure SJW nonsense, you can go watch that, or you can go watch Young Ripa's videos where he talks about that. And now let's talk about Caroline. Now, Caroline got her foot in the door because she was going to college in New York City. And when she was in college, 9/11 happened. And she was one of the first and only people to get footage of the towers getting hit and collapsing. And this is, I even have a hard time talking about. I wasn't even there, but this is an incident that affected not only America, but the entire world. And when I think about that day, yeah, I was very young, but I remember it, and I remember just the horror, and not just from watching it on the news, but seeing it from everyone around me, and not knowing what was going to happen and what was going on, and just that shock and confusion. It really shook the world, and for her to experience that, like, I couldn't even imagine being there with a video camera that close to it. And so she had the footage, and since nobody knew that this was going to happen, there isn't any, very high def videos of it, but she filmed it, and because of that, it was used in documentaries, and she did, multiple interviews talking about it. And I can understand as somebody that's trying to make their career as a writer, but you're always remembered for that one thing that you did, and for her, it was completely by accident. She just happened to be, I don't like to say at the right place at the right time for this, because nothing about that was right. But in her case, she was there, she had the camera, and she was able to document this important part of history. And it is important, and I'm going to talk about that, but after we watch this clip, because I was very shook by the things that this woman said.
Yeah, it's just still so surreal.
10 years later, Caroline Dries is all grown up, a successful writer and producer in Hollywood. But she acknowledges she's already made the most compelling television of her life.
It took kind of 10 years for me to understand why this footage is special. People, I think, want to remember the details clearly and to hold on to it because they know how significant it was. Sometimes I think, it would be nice to have not filmed it, to just have run and had let time kind of erase all of the details and just moved on a little faster.
Now, this really strikes a chord with me, because to say that you just want people to forget about what happened, about the attack on innocent people, and the murder of innocent people just to make a political stance, that disgusts me to my very core. And I can understand somebody saying that these are nightmares that I've had, for the past 10 years, and that I want to move on. I don't want to remember this. I can understand, wanting to move on from that. But if we let history just be forgotten, if we don't learn from the mistakes of the past, what stops us from, letting people come into power that will, make these mistakes again in the future? I don't think that that's right at all. And for her to say that, it really struck a nerve with me, because how disgusting of a sentiment can you were there, you watched it, you watched people jump out of buildings to their death instead of staying there to die there. And you would think that somebody that's experienced that, wouldn't you use this traumatic event that happened to you and use that for your writing? Because I wasn't there. I wasn't in New York City. I was just a kid when that happened. That struck a nerve with me. I remember when that happened. So if you were to use this, like Batwoman is in Gotham, a city similar to New York. If you did something that, terrorists are coming, they're trying to bomb Gotham, or they're trying to crash into, buildings, maybe they're trying to crash into Wayne, the Wayne building, or City Hall or something like that, and have Batwoman come and stop them and save them, and maybe one of the plane hits, but maybe she stops the second one. Do you know how much that would resonate with people? Do you know how much people would love that character after watching that? Because we weren't able to save the people in the towers. But what if Batwoman were able to do it? And, that would be some kind of, ode and gratification to this character for doing something that we ourselves weren't able to do because we didn't know that it was happening. So you could use that. Do you know how much that would connect with people? How much that would resonate with people? That would hit a nerve. And I feel like that's something that writers want to accomplish. They want their works to be remembered forever. They want their characters to stand out. They want their stories to stand out. Why wouldn't you use that I don't want to say incredible, but that life experience that you had that, was in that pivotal time in history? Why wouldn't you use that to make your story, to make this superhero that you are writing the best that the world has ever seen? And then on top of that, not only does Caroline and Greg both have, previous writing experience, but again, they both bring that extra, chip on their shoulder to the table, that they are both, a gay man and a gay woman that know what it's like, as gay people to, that journey, that, coming of age story, and they could add that to the character and give her so much depth. And we live in crazy times. I don't like to talk about politics on my channel, but do you know how much it would mean to people if the world got behind this character that they're really pressing the fact that she's gay, so I'm gonna roll with that, and really emphasize that and show it and have the entire world unite and connect with this character, and how powerful these two writers, all the opportunities that they have in their hand, and they're not going to use it. Heck, Superman was an alien. The whole world stands behind Superman. Batman, his parents were murdered in front of him. He had this traumatic thing happen to him. The world stands behind him. Everyone has something bad happen to them in their lives that, it adds more depth to these superheroes and their lore. You want to say, okay, well, maybe something that they're going to write from the things that they've shown, that Batman got kicked, or Batwoman, got kicked out of the service because she was, they caught her that she was, making out with another girl, and they're kind of get persecuted because of their sexuality. Okay, so show the awful things that happen to, people that are gay growing up when other people cannot accept them just because they don't agree with, their lifestyle choices. You could show that. And then you could show how she's able to overcome it, how she doesn't let the horrible things that happened to her in the past affect her and have her turn to the dark side, and have her instead become the superhero that saves everyone. That would be incredible. Why don't they do that? The show hasn't come out yet, so I'm sincerely hoping that these people with, for at least Caroline, I don't know about Greg's life experience. As far as the internet, all of my searching, I haven't found anything as traumatic as, him getting live footage of 9/11 happening. But for Caroline, for her as a lesbian to be writing this lesbian character with the life experience that she has the opportunity to one of the most groundbreaking, superhero TV shows with the experience that she has. And all I've seen so far of it is that they just are more interested in pushing politics down our throat than telling an amazing story. I would 100% love to see this in-depth, dark story about how this girl was born. She knew that she was different, and that she, was a girl that is in a world where you're told you're supposed to like boys, but instead she realized that she liked women, and then her story growing up, all the struggles that she faced. Maybe one of the main plot points is that her father didn't accept her, and we see the father in the trailer, and how, now their relationship is better, but maybe there's something that they're struggling with. And so not only do you have her trying to be a superhero, but then having that relationship with her father as well as her romantic interests, that would add so much dynamic. Why won't they do it? I don't understand. All we get is politics. And they have such an opportunity to do something great, and it just doesn't seem like they are going to, and it's very disappointing. And, I'm going to do more research on these people, so expect more videos on them, but just from the time right now, it's not looking good. And these people have the platform to do something great, and it sucks to know that just everyone in Hollywood is more interested in pushing politics than telling actual stories that have depth, that have, emotions, that have that edge that brings it over the top. Like stories like Star Wars, the original stars, the George Lucas Star Wars, like stories like Forrest Gump. Like, why won't you do that? Blows my mind. But, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's okay too. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Make sure you click that little bell. That way you get notifications when I do other videos and live streams. And until next time, everyone, have a great rest of your day. And may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye, everyone. What's up, everyone? It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and I have an Etsy store, so if you've ever wanted to own a print of my artwork, this is the place to go. As you can see, I have a lot of recognizable characters, from horror films to heroes to Star Wars characters. Some of the notable characters I have on here are Darth Vader, which I did a couple live streams painting, so you can own a print of this painting. I also have Luke Skywalker, the binary sunset version, one of my favorite scenes in the original New Hope movie. I have Darth Maul, which Ray Parks himself actually complimented me on Instagram. And then last but certainly not least, Ahsoka Tano. So if you want to own any of these prints, go right on over to my Etsy store. Again, that's The Art of Anna, That Star Wars Girl, or TSWG for short. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. What's up, everyone? I have a P.O. box, so if you want to send me some mail, go ahead and send it to Anna, that Star Wars girl, or TSWG for short, at P.O. Box number 28171, Santa Ana, California, 927998171. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.